Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most shocking developments in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. The Crimea Bridge, a critical piece of infrastructure connecting Russia to the Crimean Peninsula, has been hit by a massive strike, sending shockwaves across the region and the world. This bridge has long been a symbol of Russian control over Crimea, and its sudden destruction has massive implications for both military strategy and political messaging. Ukraine's ability to strike such a high-profile target is being seen as a bold statement of capability and defiance. The bridge itself spans over 19 kilometers and is one of the longest in Europe, carrying both road and rail traffic. It was a project that Vladimir Putin personally championed, and its construction took years under immense logistical and financial strain. Its strategic importance cannot be overstated. It serves as a lifeline for supplies and personnel moving between Russia and occupied Crimea. By targeting this bridge, Ukraine has not just disrupted transportation, it has challenged Russia's narrative of control and permanence in the region. Initial reports indicate that the attack was executed with precision. Ukrainian forces employed advanced missile systems, showcasing an ability to hit targets deep within enemy-held territory. The strike caused a large portion of the bridge to collapse, and video footage circulating online shows debris falling into the waters below. These visuals are dramatic and unprecedented. Analysts suggest that this may delay Russian military operations and create logistical nightmares for forces stationed in Crimea. Every shipment of fuel, ammunition, or reinforcements may now face serious delays or rerouting challenges. The timing of the attack is also significant. It comes amid mounting international pressure on Russia, and as Ukraine continues to strengthen its military capabilities with Western support. The destruction of the bridge is not just a tactical win, it's a psychological blow to Russia. For years, the bridge was portrayed as a symbol of Russian engineering and dominance. Its damage undermines that image and signals that Ukraine can strike targets that were once thought untouchable. Russia's reaction has been swift and furious. Kremlin sources described the attack as an act of terror and vowed to respond. There have been reports of heightened security measures along other critical infrastructure points, fearing that similar strikes may follow. Putin's public statements have been combative, emphasizing that Russia will not allow its supply lines or symbols of power to be undermined. The rhetoric is strong, but analysts warn that the loss of the bridge creates real operational headaches that cannot be solved with words alone. On the Ukrainian side, the strike is being hailed as a major success. Military officials emphasize the precision and planning required to pull off such an operation. Social media in Ukraine has erupted with praise for the forces involved, portraying the event as a moment of national pride. Beyond the tactical victory, there is a symbolic resonance. The Crimea Bridge was not just a bridge, it represented decades of Russian investment and influence. Damaging it is a tangible message to Moscow that Ukraine will not back down. Experts are already analyzing the long-term implications. The bridge's collapse may force Russia to rely on more vulnerable maritime supply routes, which can be targeted more easily by Ukrainian forces. This increases the risk for Russian troops stationed in Crimea, who may face shortages in key supplies. Additionally, the political ramifications extend beyond the battlefield. International observers are noting that the strike may strengthen calls for increased support to Ukraine, as it demonstrates that Ukrainian forces are capable of carrying out complex operations with strategic impact. There is also a historical angle to consider. Throughout history, bridges have often symbolized more than mere transportation. They represent connection, control, and dominance. Destroying a bridge during a conflict can serve as both a tactical maneuver and a psychological weapon. In this context, the Crimea Bridge strike is comparable to famous historical attacks on key infrastructure, sending a message not just to military planners, but to the world watching. Ukraine is asserting itself as a force capable of shaping the narrative of the war, rather than merely reacting to Russian moves. The strike also raises questions about Russia's defensive capabilities. How could such a critical structure be vulnerable to attack? Analysts suggest that while Russia has invested heavily in the bridge's construction and protection, The evolving nature of Ukraine's military technology and tactics has outpaced static defenses. The event underscores a growing trend in modern warfare, where mobility, intelligence, and precision can overcome even heavily fortified positions. On social media, reactions are varied. Supporters of Ukraine celebrate the strike as a symbolic and strategic victory. Russian social media, however, reflects shock and outrage, with many questioning how such a major failure could occur. International media has picked up the story widely, framing it as a turning point in the conflict. The images and video footage are being replayed across news networks, emphasizing the dramatic nature of the collapse and the audacity of the attack. The strategic impact goes beyond Crimea. With the bridge partially destroyed, the movement of Russian forces to the southern front may face delays. Military experts suggest that this could give Ukraine a temporary operational advantage, allowing them to consolidate positions and potentially launch further strikes on vulnerable supply lines. The ripple effects of this event are likely to be felt across multiple fronts, influencing both military and diplomatic calculations. In addition to the immediate military consequences, the strike has significant propaganda value. For Ukraine, it demonstrates resilience and the ability to strike high-value targets. For Russia, it creates a challenge: how to maintain an image of control while acknowledging that critical infrastructure is vulnerable. Information warfare has become a central aspect of the conflict, and moments like this are leveraged heavily on both sides to shape perception. Analysts are also examining the technical aspects of the strike. Reports indicate that a combination of missiles and possibly drones were used to maximize impact. The planning required for such an operation involves intelligence gathering, timing, and coordination to ensure that the strike hits critical points of the bridge. This sophistication suggests that Ukraine is not only improving its conventional military capabilities, but is also becoming adept at modern, asymmetric warfare tactics. The destruction of the bridge will likely have economic consequences as well. Transport links are disrupted, affecting trade and supply chains that rely on overland routes through Crimea. Russian authorities may attempt to repair or rebuild the bridge, but that process will take time and resources, during which logistical challenges will persist. The event also sends a message to investors and businesses about the risks associated with infrastructure in contested zones, potentially influencing economic decisions and priorities. From a geopolitical perspective, the attack adds pressure on Russia's allies and partners. It underscores the vulnerabilities in regions under Russian control and highlights the capabilities of Ukrainian forces. International actors, particularly those supporting Ukraine, may use this moment to justify continued or increased assistance, citing the success of high-precision strikes as evidence of strategic value. Conversely, Russia may seek to intensify military measures or diplomatic maneuvers to counterbalance the symbolic and operational impact of the bridge's damage. Public perception is crucial in modern conflicts. The dramatic images of the bridge's collapse resonate with audiences worldwide. It reinforces narratives of resilience and the ability to strike effectively, which can influence morale on both sides. Ukrainian citizens and soldiers see it as a sign of hope and capability, while Russian citizens may experience a mix of shock and disbelief. Managing these perceptions is an essential aspect of warfare today, and events like this have an outsized effect beyond the immediate tactical outcomes. The strike also brings attention to the evolving nature of the conflict in Ukraine. What began as a conventional confrontation has increasingly involved advanced technologies, long-range strikes, and strategic targeting of infrastructure. The Crimea Bridge attack exemplifies this evolution, showing that the conflict is not static, and that both sides are capable of surprises that can alter the dynamics on the ground. The psychological impact of striking such a high-profile target cannot be underestimated. It shifts the perceived balance of power and introduces uncertainty into Russian planning. Military experts are likely to study this strike for years to come. Its success demonstrates the integration of intelligence, timing, and precision munitions to achieve a strategic effect. Lessons learned from this operation may inform future military planning, both in Ukraine and globally, as nations observe the effectiveness of targeting critical infrastructure to disrupt adversary operations. The attack serves as a case study in modern conflict, where symbolic and tactical objectives converge. In the coming weeks, the focus will be on Russia's response. Will they accelerate efforts to repair the bridge, or will they focus on strengthening alternative supply routes? The answer will affect the pace and intensity of ongoing operations in Crimea and the broader southern front. Ukraine's ability to maintain pressure and exploit vulnerabilities will be closely watched, as the bridge strike demonstrates that bold, well-planned actions can have far-reaching consequences. Diplomatically, this strike may influence negotiations and international support. Countries providing military aid to Ukraine may see the operation as validation of their assistance, highlighting the tangible results of support in enabling Ukraine to defend itself and strike strategic targets. Conversely, Russia may seek to frame the attack as a justification for escalating measures or tightening control over occupied territories. The interplay of military action and diplomatic messaging is central to understanding the broader consequences of this event. The human dimension should not be overlooked. While the bridge is a symbol and a strategic asset, the attack also affects the people who rely on it for transportation and commerce. Disruption of daily life and economic activity is inevitable in the aftermath of such strikes. Understanding these impacts provides a more complete picture of the consequences, reminding us that infrastructure in wartime carries both military and civilian significance. In terms of global attention, the strike ensures that Crimea and the conflict remain in headlines. Visuals of the destroyed bridge circulate widely, creating a lasting impression. The narrative of resilience, defiance, and precision strikes is reinforced every time the footage is shared. This amplifies Ukraine's messaging and maintains international focus on the conflict, potentially influencing policy decisions, humanitarian aid, and diplomatic engagement. In conclusion, the strike on the Crimea Bridge is a defining moment in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. It demonstrates Ukraine's growing capabilities, challenges Russian control, and carries symbolic weight that extends beyond the immediate battlefield. The operational, economic, and psychological impacts are profound, and the ramifications will be felt for weeks, months, and possibly years. The event underscores the dynamic and evolving nature of modern warfare, where precision strikes on critical infrastructure can reshape strategy, morale, and global perception. Ukraine's bold move has sent a clear message. It is capable of hitting high-value targets and disrupting Russian plans, altering the course of the conflict in both tangible and symbolic ways.